Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I got a review for you of this little guy. This is the Ka-Bar Kharon, Kharon, K-H-A-R-O-N. However the heck you want to pronounce it, I like Kharon, so I'm going to stick with Kharon. But anyways, thank you very much, first off, to a viewer. Now, guys, I'm not a brilliant man, but I'm also apparently a jerk because this was donated to me, donated to the channel by a viewer of mine. And I have a spreadsheet where I keep track of these things, but this one, for some reason, its entry was lost to the sands of time. And so although I think it might have been my buddy Andrew, I don't know exactly who sent this to me. I am a jerk. I feel really bad about that. But whoever it is, please, I hope your heart is warmed by knowing that I feel like a total jerk because I can't adequately express my gratitude to you. It's beside the point, though. Next thing, let's do a little size comparison real quick. First off, this guy is, that's a Kershaw Atmos. I have no idea why I just brought this into frame for the size comparison. I'm just a freaking mess tonight. But that's what it is next to an Atmos. Nice knife. Here it is against the Ontario Rat number 2. The Rat number 1 here. At least I got that part right. The Spyderco Delica. And, anything else worth doing here? Yeah, another nice, inexpensive knife. This is the Cricket, the LCK. Very, very interesting piece here. And then finally, a couple of other quick notes. There is no disassembly on this guy because, well, unfortunately, it's got a free spinning pivot that's not tooled. So, yeah, it ain't freaking happening. And, actually, I don't have any other notes for you. Oh, I'm sorry. Perhaps another relevant comparison here is the Z Hunter, of course. Yeah, that's right. So anyways, let's go ahead and jump into the good, the great, the bad, and the ugly of this very, very interesting little pocket knife here. First off, on the good side, you know what? I love the simplicity of this knife. Backlocks are nice. They're easy. A backlock has this little locking thing in the back there. That's how you unlock and lock the knife. It works great, and backlocks they were a solution that's been around for many, many years. But the thing is, they've got a lot of advantages. They tend to be relatively simple. Like here, you've got just, basically the one moving part. You got the blade. Well, I guess you also got the lock bar, but still, there's not all that much to it. This guy has full liners underneath there, which means there's steel, I assume it's steel underneath there, which holds everything together. It is a very durable sort of design. It's very hard to really kill a backlock. Washing them out, for instance, even if you can't take it apart, is pretty straightforward. I mean, this is just a good way to design a knife. It's a full liner backlock. It can't go so wrong, and so I like that very, very much, and that's a good thing. Next thing, I gotta say, it is truly ambidextrous because they have actually included a tip up, left side and right side clip. And because it's a backlock, you can disengage and use it just as easily with either hand. Let's play, can Nick do anything left-handed? I can do that at least, and that's a beautiful thing. Next thing, the blade on this guy is actually pretty reasonable. Although it's a little bit on the longer side here. We'll measure it out here, coming in around 3.37 inches. That's not all that long, actually, I guess. But nonetheless, it's in a good size range. It's going to be enough blade for pretty much anything. Can't argue with that. I'm a big fan of that. And a Tonto-style blade can be useful in a couple of ways. Not only do you have a very strong tip for, like, for instance, stabbing into a bag to open it up for sand or something like that, but also you get a nice little surface up here for scraping. You can get some utility cutting elements out of there. This little corner can actually be used to cut into things, like, for instance, if you want to cut open a box without, making a whole lot of trouble with it, getting the tip into there. That's a great thing. Also has a sharpening choil, as you can see down here, which is just a beautiful thing when it comes time to sharpen it. It does have this little kick down here in the bottom, which allows for one-handed closing. See, watch this. I disengage the back lock, shake the knife shut, and then this part, which is unsharpened, lands against my finger, at which point I can then come back in and close the knife. And so as a result, this is a knife that is completely operable with one hand. And actually, the action is done such that you can pop it out of there with just a single flicking motion. The action on this is actually remarkably smooth for what it is. I've given it some lubrication. I use some 85 weight nano oil along the tang here, and I've worked it a fair amount here. But I gotta say, it's reasonably smooth. It works pretty well. And so the blade on this guy is pretty damn good. And the action on it is not bad either. So there's a lot of joy to be found in that guy. And so that, to me, all of that is the good, is that it's got this very reasonable action. It's got a blade that works pretty well with a useful blade shape and a sharpening choil and whatnot. It is truly ambidextrous, and a backlock knife is it's a simple, reliable, durable sort of thing. To me, what's great about this knife, though, is the price. This is a $16 knife. Now, this is great. Very often it is sort of a fact of life that knives under like 20 bucks tend to suck. You get some good ones, certainly, but they tend to really just be awful. They tend to have so many compromises to hit that price point that they're awful. And people try to do things that are way fancier than they should be doing for under 20 bucks. But the thing is, this isn't like that. It is a simple knife and it's done reasonably well. And most importantly, it is safe. And so really, to me, what's great about this is not that it's 16 bucks. I mean, that's good. But the fact that it's 16 bucks and absolutely safe is great. This is a knife I would not hesitate to hand to the fiancée. I mean, yeah, she'd judge me, but, I'd deserve it at that point. But, it would absolutely work. It's durable, it's reliable, it's not going to come shut on you. It works fine. And so that, to me, is what's great here, is that they've made a $16 knife that can put in reasonable work and is truly safe. I love that. I'm on the bad side. First off, thumb stud, absolutely in the slicing path here. I get ergonomically the thumb stud's well positioned, but that's going to be a pain in the neck, because as you're cutting into things, that's going to keep snagging on things. Not a beautiful thing. Not the end of any worlds, though, particularly because you do have a fair amount of blade on this guy. Next thing, the steel on this guy is Aus 8 steel. Look, Aus 8 is not a great blade steel. For 16 bucks, though, they could do a whole lot worse, so I'm going to shut up about it now. Next thing, this is using a free spinning pivot with thread locker. That's not great, because it means you can't take this guy apart. Like I said, it's a back lock, so they're pretty easy to maintain just by washing it out in there. But I'm not a big fan of that. Next thing, unfortunately, the blade on this guy was not well ground to sharpen. What you can see here is a Tonto should be flat throughout this area, but instead it's got this little bulge out here. And as somebody with a little bit of a curvature towards the middle there, I get it. I sympathize. But this knife really needs to hit the jib and get this back into a straight line. Over time, if you're sharpening on flat stones, that'll get there. But that's absolutely not something I'm loving seeing there. But it's 16 bucks, so I should shut the heck up. Then finally, on the bad side, the only thing I really dislike about this guy, well, okay, one of two things I dislike about this guy is that I'm a little scared about the blade guard here. What I mean by that is, although this material has some grippiness, it is a little bit smoother than most, and I really do feel like my hand doesn't have a whole lot stopping me, and I'm not going to simulate that, but it doesn't have a whole lot stopping me from sliding up onto the blade, because if I simulate that too well, I'll slide up onto the blade, and that'll suck. But anyways, as a result, if I'm pushing into something, I worry that I might go that way, and so I'd like to see a little more curvature up and out here that would stop my fingers from sliding forward. And so to me, that's what's bad here. I'm scared by the lack of blade guard. It has a crappy sharpening job. It has a free spinning pivot with thread locker on there. It's got Aus 8 steel, which isn't great, and the thumb stud is in the slicing path here. And maybe the stock's a little bit thick. It's not like the God's gift to slicing, but you know what? It's ground pretty well. I can't get too bad out of shape. On the ugly front, holy crap, is this thing ugly. I mean, it's like a Z-Hunter, but it's got more disease to it. Like, what were they looking at when they thought about this? Where did they take inspiration from? Did the members of the Ka-Bar design team go to, like, a leper colony and decide, you know what, guys? I've got our newest texture. I don't know. I don't care. Whatever it is, it's disturbing. But by God, is it freaking ugly. So that to me is what's ugly, is that this is really ugly. But, I can't hold it against it because it's a decent tool otherwise. And actually, that brings us into the final conclusion here, which is that this is a knife I should freaking hate. I mean, it's got a freaking biohazard sign on here. It's zombie-themed. It is diseased. Absolutely. It is a Tonto with Aus 8. It is a cheap knife. But the thing is, really, I kind of like this knife a lot, because it is a simple thing. It is a relatively reliable one. It's got a nice working blade, and it's got a price that's really freaking good. I mean, yeah, you could make a couple of improvements. Absolutely 100%. You could add a little bit of blade guard here. And, you could definitely make that pivot not free spinning. But the thing is, this is not going to satisfy people with higher end taste, but it doesn't have to. This is a great knife if you have 16 bucks in your pocket and you need to buy a pocket knife. And you know what? I'm going to be doing one of these days here a competition of knives under 20 bucks where I just try and find the very best of them. And this is going to be a 500-pound gorilla in the room, so to speak. This is a really nice knife for under 20 bucks. And so, yeah, it's not going to be for everybody. It's not going to replace your high-end pieces. No one's going to downgrade from a Norseman to this guy. But at the same time, if you value price and safety above pretty much anything else and you want a knife that'll actually put in a little bit of reasonable work, you know what? I can see this guy Kharon for you for years to come. Okay. Anyways, I hope this has been interesting, that you don't get whatever this thing's got, and that you have yourselves just an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. Bye now.